What is up, everybody? So I have to say, yesterday was a very bright spot on what has otherwise been a no need to sugarcoat it drag of a February. Today I actually got out for the first time in, I don't know, about 12 days to ride my bike. Last week I was doing some things and my back just started to tighten up. I didn't do anything to really tweak it, but about a week ago I was just barely mobile. So I've kind of just been waiting instead of going out and trying to ride with just all the snow being back on the ground till I felt a little better. So I did about 13 or 14 miles today, and I did feel okay. It felt like it was kind of stretching me out, and then towards the end I started to feel it in my back a little bit, and so I decided to head home and ice it. It was a pretty good ride, just going around the neighborhoods. One of the things for me is I haven't wanted to go and risk, like banging my back around or being on the bike trails, which are still covered in snow, which I knew they would be. I could tell from the sidewalks and some of the driveways, and so just that risk of a slip and trying to correct for it, that could just throw me back to square one with getting a little bit better. Feel good that I am feeling better. This week looks like there should be some more opportunities to ride, so I'm just hopefully going to kind of build it back up, and hopefully my back continues on its path to feeling a little bit better. But yeah, with February, it's just been so having those back issues come back is always awful. Then just had 3 friends in the hospital. 2 of them are out, which is really good. 1 is not. Had a suicide in the broader friend group, and it probably won't surprise you to know that I'm somebody who deals with situations like this by getting out and riding my bike. So it's kind of a double whammy when I can't do that. So I'm kind of, stuck inside. Some of the other things I did were I've worked on the studio a little bit. I've got this storefront space that I really want to do something with. I've kind of set it up to look like a faux vintage camera film store for right now. If someone's really into that and you're in the Akron or Cuyahoga Falls area, hit me up, because I would love to lease that space or have a partnership in there of something. Because one of the big things for me is I love the idea. I already have the space, but I do not want to be standing behind a counter on Friday and Saturdays, which is when you need to be open, because I want to go ride my bike. So yeah, this idea I keep working on. I've kind of gone through all my cameras. I've given boxes of cameras over the years because people know I collect them. And my collection mostly comes from flea markets and thrift stores and stuff like that. Kind of lucky I got into it before everything kind of really blew up with film photography. So I was able to scoop a lot of stuff up pretty cheap, and there was still just a lot of stuff sitting around back then. I don't know. So I kind of spent some time going through that and kind of cleaning up that space, just working slowly as my back's hurt, but in being very cautious with what I'm doing, but still trying to get a little bit of stuff done and getting some movement in. And then in the evenings, I've just been going for some walks. On this ride today, as you're seeing, I'm just kind of cruising around and keeping it on the dry pavement and going through the different neighborhoods. I did go up and test a couple of sections where I thought I could cut through, and real short ones, I basically just walked over the snow, and then there's a couple other ones where I could tell it was just going to be a little too risky and I didn't want to slip. But the Roundup bike show that I showed at the beginning of this video turned out to be awesome. What a day for the bike community in the area, the region. There are people, kind of from all over Northeast Ohio and even beyond that. As one of the vendors, Frank Lugs Not Drugs, came down from the Detroit area. So really cool. So met people that I had never met before. There were, I think, at least 2 people, Mick and George, who came up and said they found out about the show because of the channel and came out. So that was really cool. I'm glad they came over and said what's up. And I know the organizers, Nick and Aaron, said there was a couple other people who said the same thing. So really cool that the channel could have that kind of effect to, get the community out for that event. I had nothing to do with the event. I did not plan it. I did not organize it. I didn't even buy a booth. I just wanted to go and hang out and take some footage and look at all the cool bike stuff. As I said with my back, to go through all my stuff and to try and get a booth set up probably wouldn't have worked out that well for me anyways. When I was riding around today, I was thinking about how when spring does hit, when we get a thaw, this area is going to be bonkers. It always is after winter, the first few nice days, and when spring really hits and people are out in their yards or people are out at, restaurants have to scramble to get their patios set up. People go nuts around here because we really do endure a pretty real winter, but this year has been so different as it's been a winter that we never thought we'd have again. The weather pattern just keeps bringing snow and cold air from the north, which typically we used to just have cold weather and it just doesn't happen as much anymore. It's a thing called global warming. It's very real. But yeah, so this year is a winter that we never thought we'd have again. And really, I don't mind a real winter. It's just all the other stuff that I've mentioned that's been going on is kind of compounding it to just make me want to have some nice weather and be able to go out and ride when and how I want to. It would still drag on me a little. I'm not going to lie, because I do prefer nicer weather, but some of the snow rides and all that stuff are fun. But February too, some of the weather unlike January, where it just kind of stayed cold and snowy. February, we had these ups and downs, and we had these ice storms and stuff like that. And there were times where I literally did not feel safe riding. I mentioned that in the last video. I showed a footage. I walked out the door, tried to go down my parking lot, and realized this is going to be bad for a while, and it's just too risky. Yeah, it's just been kind of strange, but that's how it goes sometimes. I'm glad I'm starting to feel better. I'm really hoping to get out this week. I'm hoping to see a bunch of you guys next week at Road Apple Bay, because I know some people come out from the region. Look that up on Bike Reg if you're interested. That's out in Garrettsville, Ohio. It's a gravel ride. People race it. I usually race it for myself. You know, I'm not racing anyone else, but it's usually a ride that I go out and try and ride really well at. Don't stop, don't go to the aid stations. I just go all the way through, pushing it as much as I can. With the way my winter has been, that's not going to be the case this year. It's going to be a survival ride. I mean, the last time I rode over 40 miles might have been during the Festive 500, so it's been a while for me. It'll be fun. It's always a good hangout after the ride. It's a pretty ride, and then it's always, there's people just hanging out at there's a big bar where they have the event in downtown Garrettsville, the after party, and a lot of friends. So I know Pittsburgh contingent comes out, a lot of people from Cleveland, and then my whole friend group and everyone I know through Dirty Rivers from Akron. Just a lot of people show up since it's not that far for us. One thing that I saw that was kind of cool, it popped up in my memories on social media or somewhere. It was a picture of my old Trek, and it's right when I first got it fixed up. Took it to a bike shop, had them clean it up, get everything working properly. And so it's been 10 years since I've really been back into cycling like crazy. And that number kind of blows my mind, a decade. And it also means that coming up in this spring, it'll be 10 years since I started doing my little group ride with my friends. And so a weekly group ride going on a decade is pretty cool. So I was curious, do you guys have any bike traditions, doesn't have to be weekly, monthly or whatever, that you've kept going for a long time, and how long? Let's see who has kept something up for a really long time. I'm sure there's someone that can blow my mind, but for me, the decade is super cool and super impressive. Anyways, that's what I've got for you today. I didn't even attempt to put out a video last week. Well, that's a lie. I attempted to film some stuff, and I was wearing this wireless mic, and there was a lot of grunting and groaning as I tried to change my wheels on my bike. So I was like, man, I wouldn't listen to this. I can't put this out there. So anyways, that's how it goes. I will see you in the next one. Thanks as always for watching. Peace.